Let's talk about how to validate product ideas. If you're joining for the first time, thank you for jumping in. I am Hauwa Aguillard. I am a product designer who loves to talk about product, design, and personal growth in hopes that you be inspired to live a life of a learner as I do, build better products, and inspire others to do the same. What does it mean to validate a product idea? It is simply spending the time upfront to conduct market research, competitive analysis, user research, and other to reduce the risk of a product failure and validate if there is a demand for that product idea. As a designer, I collaborate a lot with engineers, product managers, product owners, and stakeholders to take a product idea from inception to delivery, with the ultimate goal of giving users or customers a consistent product that adds value to their life. Now, whether that is a simple to-do app to help them organize their lives better, or a complex data visualization application to help them see trends easily. As a designer, our goal should always be to test for 1, desirability. Is the product idea solving a user or customer need? I like to reframe this as, yes, we're always solving problems, but are we solving for the right ones for that user group? 2, feasibility. Is the product build easy to implement given the constraints? Typically, constraints are time, money, and human resources. 3, viability. Is the product idea profitable for the business? I like to frame this as, are we solving the right problems that users and customers are willing to pay top dollar for that product idea? Now, innovation happens where desirability, feasibility, and viability overlaps. Essentially, when a product idea solves for the right customer pain point and it's easy to build and it's profitable for the business. Your product idea should always be solving for the right problems for your target audience. Now, you might ask, how do I solve for the right problem? Working on any product idea, I may go into it with my perception of what I think the problems are and how to solve them. As much as I like to go into a room with a blank slate, more often than not, I tend to do a bit of research to get a lay of the land and lay out my assumptions during that initial inception meeting. Now, if I'm working with a team, the product owner or the stakeholder tends to have a problem in mind that they would like to solve. If I'm working on a project, a side project by myself, I typically have an idea of what I'm trying to validate. I know the problem and who I'm trying to solve for. In both cases, I like to identify who the end users are, potentially build a user persona around them, then test the idea with the potential users, and in some cases, even before it's being built. Now, a good example of what I'm trying to kind of explain here is Tesla. While I was reading the 48-Hour Startup by Fraser Doherty, he talked about how Tesla never builds their cars before they determine desirability. Essentially, Tesla's customers buy into a product idea before it's being built. Tesla's users or customers pay for a car that does not yet exist. Essentially, their customers play a huge role in determining the value of an idea before they spend time to build it. Another industry language for this is user research. And my process for that is 1, define the problem and a problem statement. And then 2, identify who you're solving for. What are their likes? What are their emotions? What is the persona around the customers, right? Ask a list of open-ended questions before investing time and money focused on desirability of the idea. Now, that might look like scheduling one-on-one interviews or sending out a survey. I do, however, prefer the one-on-one interviews because I feel like I have time and space to dive deeper into the responses. And then after the research is done, consolidate that finding and start identifying trends between the responses that you're getting. And once desirability has been established, then build a working prototype and then go back to the users or customers that I initially interviewed to make sure that the pain points have been properly addressed. I usually test for usability alongside desirability in a second round of user research. That is what my process looked like. Now there are lots of tools and methodologies within this very much highly simplified workflow, which I'll be happy to cover in detail in the next video. But what I have found is, after conducting several rounds of user research, is that I end up reframing the initial problem statement that I started with. A lot of times is because the user or customer has a different pain point than I originally assumed. And that is a good thing because we want to make sure that we are solving for the right problems, not the problems we think the customer has, but the problems that the customer actually does have and are willing to pay top dollar for us to make their life easier. Other times during the research process, I tend to uncover opportunities to explore for the next feature rollout. In either scenario, I'm saving costs, bringing in new business, and most importantly, helping users solve your problem, which ultimately makes your life better, improve your overall experience with the product idea, and eventually the product. That is my process, and I'm curious to learn about your process and how you go about validating a product idea. If you're interested in more content like this, let me know by giving this video a thumbs up, and join the channel by subscribing and tapping on the notification icon so you know when I release a new video. See you in the next one.